I'm Chevee. Today, let's discuss remembering to remember. Hello, friends. Welcome to the shed. We're back in the shed for once instead of hotel rooms or recording on the fly and all that stuff. So I had a good 2-week break, even though to you it was a 1-week break because I had pre-recorded the 2 weeks off, and I went camping with the family and had a blast. I sat in chairs and read books, and that was really something that I needed to do for a little while. And then this last week I was in Indianapolis and Gen Con and had a blast there, and some of you followed along on Instagram. If you still aren't aware, Instagram Stories is now a thing. Very, 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 very similar to Snapchat Stories. I can take short videos and piece them together into a story for you to watch. I did one this morning of my arriving at work and my normal morning routine. So check me out on Instagram at Chevee over there, and see if you like my stories. So that's just another little bit of content. I'll try to do a few times a week. I doubt that I'm going to remember to do it daily, but who knows? Maybe I will if you guys like it. So, but that's not what today's topic is about. Today's topic is about remembering to remember. And the funny thing is, I remember the context of the discussion in which I heard this. I remember thinking, that's powerful. I'm going to write that down. So I wrote it down on my phone, and that's it. I don't remember where I was or who was giving this lecture or speech or whatever it might have been, but the powerful message to me was remembering to remember. And it's obvious, right? We all try to remember things. There's no secret to how do you go about remembering stuff. You just do it. But the idea of remembering to remember is not so much the remembering, it's the thought that you drive yourself crazy trying to remember that you need to remember something. I'm saying you, not personally, just in general. People go and they try to force themselves to remember something, which causes them anxiety because they feel like they're going to forget. And people seem to forget that pencil and paper was invented thousands of years ago. Take a note. It's really that easy. And so I know if you go back and watch the first 60 episodes of the show or so, or maybe the first 40, you saw this notebook a lot. And I carry these most of the time in my pocket. This is literally a pen on paper notebook. I make them. This particular notebook, I think, was made out of a cereal box or something of that matter, with a few sheets of folded paper stapled inside, covered in duct tape for durability. Throw it in my pocket. I try not to use more than 8 sheets of paper. So it folded, there's 16 pages, and it's nice and thin, so I don't feel it back there. Also, it bends easily along the spine, so it stays in my pocket. And this is important for me, to have some sort of note-taking device. My other note-taking device that I use very, very regularly is Google Keep. And Google Keep is simply a program that basically looks like sticky notes, that you can take sticky notes and color code them, and I can put ordered lists, or actually unordered lists with check boxes. Like, for instance, here we have on Shed Topics, boredom, that's what I want to cover, the lottery, violence in video games, and remember to remember. So I can check that off. It's now off the list because we're talking about it right now. And here's the thing. This is, whether you ever go back and read your notebook, doesn't matter. I used to carry around, the memo books, the black and white memo books that people write song lyrics in or whatever. They make miniature versions. It's actually a little smaller than this. And I used to carry one of those, and I would write poetry in there. I would write, like notes to my imaginary friends. I would write notes to my wife. I would write just whatever happened into my head. And the reason is it helps me remember. True. But it's more important than that. I stop freaking out about remembering. I stopped losing sleep because, we all have those nights where you lay down and you have to do something the next day, but you didn't write it down anywhere, and now your brain won't shut up about it. And you're like, oh, I got to remember to wake up and do this, or wake up and do that. Oh, I got to do this. Just put it, all you got to do is keep a notepad on you, or find a good note-taking app on your mobile, or keep a notepad by your bed and just write it down. And then get in the habit of checking it. That's the other secret. You actually have to look at it. You can. So like I said, this notebook here was mostly around the show. I took a lot of notes in here about specific topics. I put notes in here about formatting the show, my f-stop on the camera, shutter speeds, lighting conditions, that sort of stuff, so that I could hit this same look every time. But really, I don't go back through this once I've used the information. The point is to be able to let my brain forget about it. My brain now knows it no longer has to remember. And that's really important. I was a Marine, and so if I am in a situation where I need to be alert, I wake up on the spot. Like, I'm up, right? But if I'm at home and I know Jamie's here and Jamie's a light sleeper and she's got things under control, I will sleep through anything. And that's just a simple matter of my brain doesn't need to constantly take that input while I'm sleeping because it knows it's safe. It's literally the same idea here. Take notes, write it down. Again, it doesn't need to be anything more than my note for this show was remember to remember. I didn't write remember to remember, spoken by such and such and such and such and such and such. Maybe I should have because I don't remember who said it. But the point is, I remembered to remember because I put it in here. And I didn't lose sleep about not being able to record that episode because it's in here. My brain knows. My brain can now stop thinking about that particular subject. So remembering to remembering is important. And using any tool that you can find. This is not perfect for me. I might go a year without using notes. And then when I start using my notes again, I realize, oh, my life is so much easier without the notes. Why did I ever stop? I don't know. I wish I had that answer. I wish I could remember to use my notes when I'm forgetting to use my notes. Maybe somebody has a tip for that. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. How do you remember? Let me know that in the comments. Do you use pen and paper? Do you use your phone? Do you use a calendar? I know a lot of people use a calendar app. The other thing that I do is I take a lot of pictures with my cell phone. When I change the oil in my truck, I take a picture of the odometer so I know. I don't have to try to remember. I don't have to have a sticky note on my car. I can just look through, oh, the last time I changed my oil was such and such. No problem. And so anything that I can remove from my worry stream, we'll call it, my worry, the tide of anxiety that builds in us all, the better off I'm going to be. Because that means that I can focus more on the present and less on worrying about the future. So, do you have any tricks about that? Please put those in the comments below. I want to thank everybody for being extremely civil during the controversy week. I had a lot of fun recording those episodes, and I was really uncertain about how people would react to them. And it was very civil and very honest. True, I kept a fairly mainstream opinion about those subjects, but it still is subjects that some people are very against or for, or have a strong opinion that compels them to share with others. So thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping the comments civil last week and just being awesome. I have a bunch of stuff to show you on Friday that was given to me during the show. I have games that I need to clean off my workbench here over the next day so that I can go to game night, and a bunch of work to do to unload my truck and all that stuff tonight. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait. I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from biography.com. Which U.S. state was named by Sir Walter Raleigh after the unmarried Queen Elizabeth I? In 1587, he explored from North Carolina to present-day Florida. I would presume Raleigh, North Carolina. Naming the region Virginia in honor of Elizabeth the Virgin Queen. In 1587, Raleigh sent an ill-fated second expedition of colonists to Roanoke. In 1588, he took part in the victory over the Spanish Armada. So the Virgin Queen is what Virginia is named after, and I happen to live in West Virginia, so that must be like her left arm. Maybe her wedding band. She was a virgin, so she probably wasn't married. I don't know.